Evening, everyone. Today's March 31st, 2025, and it is 6:34
Motion to
p.m.
open up the public safety meeting.
Second? I have to second myself, as he's not here.
Okay, go ahead, all those in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Madam Chairman, I wonder if we could take up items number 3, 5, and 21. It should be fairly easy, unless you want to do the minutes first. I looked at the minutes, I didn't see anything, any problems.
That's fine.
So we'll take up item 1 and 2 of the minutes of the meetings.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Then it'd be item 3, 5, and 21.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're doing 3, 5, and 7, right?
And 21.
And 21?
There should be an order on the agenda. 3, 5, is that 21?
Yeah, 3,
Okay.
5, 21 over here, okay. Item 3, it's from former Councilor Will Puello and Linda Bacon. Order that the Tapestry please consider providing, at minimum, quarterly needle collection data to the City Council and Communications. Constituents continue to find needles on the sidewalk surrounding Lawrence School and its playground. Item 5, filed by Councilor Izzy Rivera, ordered that the health commissioners representing the Board of Health come into DGR and discuss the tobacco license issuance policy and how it may or may not align with the city's economic development plans around supporting small businesses, growth, and tourism.
I got a different agenda.
Do you?
This is my agenda. See, see this is different, 3, 5, and 21. But see, Jeffrey does that one, and I don't use that one because of the double side. I did this at home, so
So which one we're doing?
we should be doing 3, which is from Counselor Bartley and Puello. The city engineer review the signaling at Maple Street, South Street, and Parental Drive intersection.
Oh, goodness.
Counselor
okay.
Bartley, I was gonna just have that sent to the alarm division, unless it's complied with.
What item is that one, though?
Item
Not on the
3,
agen-
see,
But on
what
the
do-
agenda, because we
what do you
have
have?
3 different,
Let me see this, I can't see from there. Let me see that.
yeah, that's.
Yeah,
that's
this
the
one, right?
dated. So if they're following that one, it's gonna be different to yours.
Jeffrey, would you mind coming out here for a minute? This isn't, but it's a different agenda than we had originally.
Jenny, I think Mr. Rivers has his hand up. Yes.
This is the agenda that was sent.
Yes.
That's a different agenda.
What?
See, because 3 should be Bartley and
This is-
Puello, and that says, item 3 is Puello and Bacon.
When,
This is the one,
when did this, where did this,
you sent that, and I printed it up at home.
oh, you know what this is? This is the one we went over last week before we decided the order of the agenda.
Right?
So, so this is the order we decided we were gonna go with.
Okay.
So this is before we made a final agenda. So of course, these numbers are gonna be different because this
Right.
wasn't the final agenda.
Okay, so,
So, yeah, the one that was sent today is the one you should be going off of.
okay, I didn't get, go ahead, Jenny, you read it, and I'll
Because
try to,
You
give me
said
that.
you wanted the Board of
Give me
Health items to go first.
So you're gonna grab that one, and you're gonna have to try to.
Yeah, I
skim
will
through
wing it.
And look for them.
Okay,
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Just,
Councilor Bartley?
just thank you, just a point of order. Just any order with my name on it, if we could just sort of hold off till we get to it, and then I'll address it. I just don't want to get looped into anybody else's tied-in orders, okay? So, we can table most of mine as we discussed before the meeting, so, thank you.
So motion to table all of,
Well,
Counselor
I
Bartley.
think, if you don't mind,
I don't want to
before,
do it yet.
before we do that, because I do have some answers to some of them, so maybe we should just go in order of the agenda that we have before us. And when we come to Counselor Bartley's name, then he can fill us in what he would like to do with that.
Okay.
But rather than doing, them all together, I think this makes more sense. So the first item would be on the regular agenda is Puello and Bacon. And it's Tapestry.
So,
And item 4 as well.
so should we go back and motion to take items 3 and 4 together?
Right,
and then
and
here?
like you said, Timothy
Rivers.
Rivers is on Zoom. Sorry about that, people.
Okay, apologies for everyone for the mess right here. Really quick, I do want to recognize that we have Counselor Bartley in chambers. We also have Counselor Carmen Ocasio. We have Counselor Linda Bacon online. We also have Timothy Rivers from the Board of Health online. And in chambers, we have Peter Alvarez, Damasco Santiago, and Liz Wynot, all from the Tapestry. And I will give the floor to Timothy Rivers.
I just wanted to say, my board chair, Nicole Arnold, is here as well, but she needs to be promoted. And Dr. Osborne was also supposed to come on via Zoom. I sent him the link.
Okay, Jeff, do you see Nicole Honor?
I do, and I've just promoted them.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome, thank you. Should we have them?
Okay, so I don't see her, but we'll take up item number 3 and item number 4. And if Tapestry maybe wants to come in, they can.
You want to join us? You could just have a seat anywhere.
Yeah, sit there, wherever.
Then once you're speaking, if you could just make sure the light is on, the green light is on, and state your name,
Right on the microphone.
and just state your name and where you're from.
You'll see the green light as soon as you push it. There you go.
So quickly, we'll just read it again. Item 3, order that Tapestry please consider providing at minimum quarterly needle collection data to City Council and Communications. Constituents continue to find needles on the sidewalk surrounding Lawrence School and its playground. This was tabled December 30th, 2024, and this orders Will Puello, former Will Puello Counselor, and Counselor Linda Bacon. Item 4, filed by Counselor Izzy Rivera, filed January 2nd, 2024, order that the Board of Health and Tapestry reps come into the public safety and discuss the importance of Narcan. That was tabled back on December 30th, 2024. I will recognize Counselor Linda Bacon first, and then we'll start with your response.
Thank you, Chair Rivera. My request is just very straightforward. When the needle exchange was set up, we were in a very different situation. And I'm just looking for the current information relative to how many needles are being distributed and how many needles are being collected, and how many calls at this point are coming from the community relative to needles being found. I know there's more responses than Tapestry alone, but since Tapestry's the lead agency, I'm just looking for updated information relative to the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Okay, great. Thank you for having us. My name is Pedro Alvarez. I'm the Director of Harm Reduction Operations at Tapestry. Just to answer, I guess, a clarifying question, the data that you want, are you asking for quarterly reports to come into city council chambers, or are you looking just for data to be sent to members of city council?
If I may, through the chair,
Yes.
right now, I'm just looking to get caught up. If you had any historical data that could be even a year's worth of data, that would be great. And then if we could start looking at a quarter, say at the end of this month, because it seems like it would be kind of burdensome to go back a bunch of quarters. So if we could just do a couple of years, 2023, 2024, because the order was originally filed in 2023 and we're just getting to it, that would be great. And then if going forward, if quarterly is too frequent, maybe a couple times a year, just to have a sense of, is it increasing, is it decreasing? Because things have changed over the years. So that's, whatever would be easier.
Okay, thank you for clarifying, Councilor Vikum. So I do have some data now. I wasn't sure how far you guys wanted us to go back with some of the information, but the data that I do have, it's within the past year, and some of the services, summary of services provided. A total number of 314,160 syringes were brought in, and a total of 257,906 syringes were distributed. In the past year, we've also seen 1,930 unique participants and over 6,353 encounters. The number for encounters could be repeat individuals coming back into the site seeking out services, but we've seen a total of unique individuals walking through our doors, and that number is 1,930. In that span, we've also done 370 encounters that involved wound care assessment, treatment, and referrals that occurred at the Holyoke site. Close to 3,000 naloxone kits distributed by Holyoke Harm Reduction staff. About 20% of everyone seen engaged in further services, referrals including substance use, housing, and medical care. I know the topic of conversation was the area around Lawrence School. And unfortunately, the area around Lawrence School, there is a high activity that goes around, and we focus a lot of our outreach efforts in that area as well. We have a mobile health truck that parks 1 block away from the Lawrence School. It's the empty lot across the street from Sam's parking lot on the corner of High and Cabot, where we provide some medical services that include wound care, testing and treatment for STIs and hepatitis C, testing and supported follow-ups for HIV, provision of PrEP and PEP, hepatitis A and B vaccinations, and also MAT and MOUD assessment and referrals. I have a history of working with Lawrence School as well. When I was a program manager a few years back, I met with the school principal because of the activity around that area and discarded syringes being found around the school and in the playgrounds. I volunteered to do our community cleanups and focus on that area. We also trained the maintenance, by a request from the principal at the time, was to train the maintenance staff on picking up discarded syringes, as well as naloxone administration. We did train the staff. We also provided sharps containers and tongs, and we continue to do so by request from the school as well.
Chair Rivera, can I just follow up with one question?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that summary. And without certainly getting into anything confidential, of the 20% of people that you had contact with that have engaged in some other services, would you say some of the folks are from that Lawrence School area? Are we making some progress with helping people get hooked up and changing that environment down there?
Thank you for the question. We connect with folks that we come across in our outreach efforts. We do collect demographic information. Part of that's included is the zip code. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I did make a note to myself to make sure I can provide that information and dig deeper into our databases as well. We do come across a lot of individuals that are in Holyoke, whether they're residents from that area or not. They're individuals that we come in contact with and try to provide some support into the services that they need at that moment. It's a tough and daunting task to get individuals into treatment, considering we have limited amount of services in the area as well. As of late, I know we used to have Providence Hospital, which is Mita Vista now, that provided acute detox services. That's no longer a service that's provided here in Holyoke. So a lot of the time we have to refer individuals out to different communities. We work with services in Springfield and Greenfield, but it's been a daunting task since we no longer have that service here in Holyoke.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Damasco, anyone else? No? No. Peter covered it about it. Is there any other questions?
I just have a.
Madam Chair?
Oh, go ahead.
I would also like to recognize that we have Councilor Cocaine Givner online. Also, we have Nicole Arnold, which has joined us. We do have Matt from DPW, and I believe, and I'm sorry, and we also have Lawrence Osborne, I believe, Board of Health. All right, thank you. Councilor Givner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just wondering, because I know we had a pretty heavy drug activity at the library park right there, like the library commons, and that seems to have really gotten a lot better. I wonder what was done there and how maybe we can apply that same, system or those same methods to this area that we're talking about now, because it's a lot better over there. So I'm wondering if we can't just kind of use that same effort in a different location. Thanks.
Thank you.
I honestly can't take credit for the work that's been done at the Holyoke Public Library. I do know they stepped up some of the services that they offer. I know we come in and provide harm reduction services, trying to connect with folks with evil, but we can't take full credit for that. I think there's a lot of work that goes on in the city. There's recovery coaches that go out and do outreach. There's Hope for Holyoke that does a lot of outreach, trying to connect with folks and get people into treatment. There's also the Holyoke Police Department that's doing a lot of great work in the city as well, and trying to connect with individuals. I know in the library they have security now. And they have public safety officials that kind of go out and walk the grounds and have conversations with folks. So I think having that presence, having that outreach work kind of come into that area and focus on that area has supported some of that work that's going on there.
Thank you. I would like to quickly say that thank you guys, because I know since I work at Enlace on Main Street, and behind Enlace, we do have a lot of traffic back there, and we do see a lot of needles either in the back or the front, and it just takes a phone call and you guys come down right away.
On that note too, and I know that was one of Councilor Vacone's questions as well, was regarding the calls that we get, and I don't want to miss out on that as well. So we do our community cleanups when the nicer weather gets. I believe Damasco is going to be starting those back up again. The second Saturday of every month, we do a community needle cleanup where we focus on certain areas in the city where there's a lot of activity, with the intention of going out and picking up discarded syringes and connecting with folks. We like to do this on a Saturday morning because we feel we're connecting with a lot more folks, and we get to see individuals from the general public out. And kind of just see us out there, and opportunity not to just engage some of our participants, just the general public as well, and provide some education on some of the services that we provide. I believe Councilor Carmen Ocasio has joined us in the past, especially in her ward in South Holyoke, and we've been part of certain cleanups out there as well. We always try to, collaborate with different people that are doing certain aspects of that work in the community. On average of On average, we receive 12 hotline calls per month, which totals about 99 calls. And we do our, like I said, we do our community cleanups on the second Saturday of every month. I do invite individuals to come. If there's individuals listening to this call, if there's other city council members that would like to join us on our cleanups, I welcome that. I also welcome any city council member to come into our location. We moved from our 15A Main Street location. We are located at 306 Race Street on the corner of Race and Cabot, and to come into one of our sites, and just have conversations with some of our staff, get to come into our facility, see what it actually looks like. There's a lot of misconceptions about the work, so we always want to bring people in for they can see some of that kind of firsthand.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Anyone online? Anyone in chambers?
Dr. Osborne here. I'd like to applaud and thank the speakers for their good works and their programs. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just got a quick question.
Okay.
And just a quick question, you go out the second Saturday of a month to clean up. Would people get in touch with you? Like, say somebody called me, would I just call you and say, I got a call from such and such, and can you go to Chestnut and Sargent or whatever?
Yeah, so we do have a hotline for individuals. Damasco did bring a stack of cards. I will leave some behind as well, for you guys can pass out to your constituents and your communities as well. So the way the hotline works, individuals can call this number. If we're in the office at the time, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, as soon as we get the call, we have the staff, we will send them out. Thank you, Councilor Amocasio. We'll send individuals right out. If calls come in after hours and we're the very next morning we come in, we'll go out and pick up any discarded syringes. What we ask is for individuals to leave a detailed description of where they found a discarded syringe, and then we'll go out and pick them up.
Okay. Okay, would you, if I'm gonna, or if the chairman wants to just, if you could read the phone number, that way the people listening, on TV would be able to know what it is. The hotline number, I think it's right there on the card.
You want to read it?
413, yeah.
Okay. The hotline number is 413-650-2679.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And again, we just ask individuals to leave a description. The cards are both in English and Spanish, understanding, the population that we serve in this community as well. So definitely an opportunity for individuals to give us a call, and we'll go out and pick up any discarded syringes within that time frame. I understand in the weekends, after hours where they're not there, but we try to be proactive about that situation.
I don't know if Board of Health member Tim Rivers is going to say the same thing, but the hotline number is also on the Holyoke website.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to add that when we were having a lot of issues we could see on online forums, we asked Tapestry to provide us some posters for Parks and Rec, and we distributed that to them to try to get that number out there. Because if you look at the calls, we have syringes all the time, but they, they're getting about 12 a month. So it's really important to get that number out because they always follow through. So I just wanted to add that, and great job to Tapestry.
Thank you. Damasco?
So apart from the hotline numbers, there's a number of community agencies that contact me directly. They have, I have a good relationship with Fritz King from DPW. He calls me directly when his groups are out or their teams, and they call me directly and give me that information firsthand. So again, I'm always available as well on site. The phone number to our site is 413-315-3732, and my direct extension.
You said it too fast. 315.
Sorry, 413-315-3732.
Thank you.
And my direct extension is 104.
Thank you.
Feel free to any community agencies or businesses can call me directly.
Okay, thank you.
Please do. And also, in addition to that, with the cards, we also created flyers. Every pharmacy in Holyoke right now has our flyer up. You can, you can purchase syringes in a pharmacy. You can't bring them back to the pharmacy for proper disposal. So again, we want to provide this service not only to individuals that utilize our program, but also individuals that have a tough time disposing of any sharps. they can use our service for that as well.
Okay, thank you. I have a question. Carmen Ocasio, Councilor Ocasio?
I just want you guys to address the public to let them know how safe will they be if they come out to help, and what equipment are you guys are going to provide them with to keep everybody safe.
Thank you for that, Councilor Ocasio. So we do, our cleanups usually start around 10 o'clock. We ask individuals to arrive 15 minutes, 20 minutes earlier. We go through a brief training and provide equipment, whether if it's gloves, we do provide sharps containers, tongs. We don't ask individuals to use their bare hands to pick up any discarded syringes. So we go through a training first, engage people's comfort level with that. Sometimes individuals, they just want to join us to learn about the programs and they don't want to pick up syringes, then that's okay too. It's depending on their comfort level. But we do spend time with individuals on that training prior to going out. And just kind of have those conversations and provide the necessary tools to go out there for individuals can be safe.
Okay.
Quick question. The sharps containers, if somebody's a diabetic and they have those, can they drop them off to your, okay,
Yes, they can.
thank you.
Thank you.
And just for clarification, we're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anyone online? I see none, so I would like to say thank you very much for coming, sharing all the information with us, and we'll make sure to pass these out.
And I think Narcan, the fourth, number 4.
For the Narcan. Yeah.
Oh, the Narcan, okay. Oh, we didn't discuss that. Go ahead, Pedro. All yours.
So thank you. So the second order was discussing the importance of Narcan. I think, I really don't have to speak much on that at this point. Here in Holyoke, we've had an uptick in fatal overdoses, unfortunately. I got data right in front of me stemming back from 2016 all the way to 2020, 23. We don't have 2024 numbers yet. Those haven't been released yet. And these are numbers pulled from the mass.gov website. These are for fatal overdoses here in this city. In 2016 was 11. 2017 was 13. 2018 was 14. 2019 was 16, 2020 was 21, 2021 was 23, 2022 was 27. In 2023, we had a jump of 37 fatal overdoses here in this city. In a population of roughly 38,000 people, 37 fatal overdoses in 1 year is a very high and alarming number. So the importance of Narcan and having it accessible for folks. I believe there's been recent articles where they stated there's been 322 opioid-related incidents in 2023 from January to September. That is also a high number. These are in 911 calls. There's a lot of calls that go underreported and not being called in as well. So we provide Narcan, naloxone distribution, naloxone education. We do this on a community basis. We do this by request. We do this by walk-ins. We do this in groups. We do this by individual basis. We provide this to anybody that wants this education. We've, in the past couple years, we've been trying to get nalox boxes put up throughout the city. Where Narcan, naloxone is readily available to folks. That's been a challenge because putting a nalox box in a location where it can be accessible to folks even after hours. Like, we do an excellent job Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, but we do know the reality of the situation where it continues way beyond that. So having naloxone available to different folks, it has been a challenge because we have to get it put up on a building. A lot of the buildings that we see in the areas where there's a lot of activity are privately owned. And most of these private landlords aren't from this area, so it's hard getting in contact with individuals. I took it upon myself to put up a box, which was a privately owned building, and I came back the next week and the box was torn down. And these are areas where we see these calls coming in, where we have these conversations with the first responders of where they're seeing a lot of activity. We have these conversations with our participants as well about providing naloxone to individuals. We do have different formulations of naloxone here as well. And I welcome anybody that's interested in the training to definitely reach out to Damasco, come down to the site, pick up a Narcan, request the training. We do these in English and in Spanish as well.
Okay. Liz?
Just to add to that, So I've been working with the Holyoke program since it opened and just in Massachusetts with opioids. And the main reason why fatal overdoses have gone up is because of the introduction of fentanyl. And then now it's the introduction of lots of synthetic opioids and other types of drugs. So it's very it's been getting harder because of the erratic drug supply. And in addition to increasing our naloxone distribution and education, one thing that we really try to do in essence is connect to people, because we really do believe that when people use in isolation or alone, that puts you at greatest risk for dying from an overdose. And so one of the things that we actively work on, all of our staff every day, is to make connections with people and try to decrease the stigma and feelings of isolation in connection to care.
Thank you. Councilor Bartley?
Yes, through the chair, Mr. Alvarez, thanks a lot. I'm going to just ask you, Mr. Alvarez, for that list that you just provided, will you do us a kindness and put it on some kind of letterhead or something and send that to Jeff as a communication so we can put it to a subsequent city council agenda? Because I think that data is, your honesty is obviously critical, but that data is very important. That's part one. I'm not really interested in getting to a debate whether or not needle exchanges are good or bad. That ship sailed. So I don't, but the data is a data. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is just, date it, whenever you date it, and send it to Jeff, and then just say, "Dear Jeff, please post it per Councilor Bartley to a future city council agenda." If you could do that next month, don't kill yourself, but it seems like you got most of it done. And then the second part, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Okay. The second part is, okay, relative to the landlord part, that could bear some fruit, but you can't just put things on a building. Okay, so that's never going to work. What you could do, however, is you could offline, because I don't want to say the gentleman's name. I have your card now. I'll shoot you an email. There are some. Well, I'm a landlord, but there's a landlord group, the statewide group of which I'm a member. But there's a few of us that are fairly active in Holyoke, and there's certain of us that are maybe more willing than others to go ahead and try that on a trial basis. And if that's the case, you just go through proper channels. You request it, and then you mount it, and then you go ahead and monitor it. You don't just go ahead and put it up somewhere. That's a no-go. So when I have a minute, which will be probably next week, I will reach out to you about that very topic, and I will recommend one or two landlords that I know that would more likely not be willing. But if I said their names on the mic, that wouldn't be fair to them, would it? So let's, to be continued, okay? So I owe you a letter, and you owe Jeff a letter, okay? Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Bartley. I will definitely get you that data. And with these fatal overdoses, these are residents here, or residents or people that are in Holyoke. These are our neighbors. These are our relatives. These are at this point now, it's people here, and it's affect us in different ways. So definitely, I appreciate the information, and I'll definitely follow up with some data. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Givner?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's another order this evening that I had submitted to try to get some of the business owners to take part in the Holyoke trash cleanup, and I'm wondering if we can't add to that order maybe something where we try to have any stores that sell syringes also have a box where syringes can be discarded, so that can be in a later conversation too, but I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I just have a quick comment. I believe that for item number 3, that Councilor Vacan is looking for a quarterly report so to speak, and I think that's a great idea. And if you could send that quarterly report as a communication, then if it's okay with the chair, we can say that item number 3 was complied with by having you guys come in. But make sure that quarterly you do give us that information, or we'll have to have you come in again to do it. So how does that sound? And Counselor Bacon it was her order, so if she agrees.
That's fine with me if it works for the Tapestry folks.
Okay. I make a motion that the Tapestry folks give us a quarterly reporting of the number of needles, that type of thing, and that this order's been complied with, number 3.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And then number 4 has been complied with?
Yeah, I was saying 4.
And make a motion that number 4 be complied with?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think that's all for the.
Once again, thank you all for coming. Thank you for the information. Okay,
Thank you for having us.
thank you. Motion to take.
Yeah, make a motion to take up items 5 and 6 together as a package.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the Board of Health is here.
Number.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night. Number 5, filed by Councilor Israel Rivera, order that the health commissioners representing the Board of Health come in to DGR and discuss the tobacco license issuance policy and how it may or may not align with the city's economic development plans around supporting small businesses, small business growth and tourism. This was tabled in September of 2024, again in December of 2024. And then item 6, filed by Councilor Bartley, that the Board of Health Commissioner please be invited to attend to discuss if changes are possible to the changes to the tobacco license issuance policy that supports common sense economic growth on a case-by-case basis and also protects public health. This was tabled back in September of 2024 as well as December 2024. And since this was filed by Councilor Bartley, number 6, and Councilor Rivera's not here, I will give the floor to Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, thank you. I filed this in May of ¡24. It got knocked out of the box, and then I refiled it. In the meantime, Councilor Rivera filed kind of a similar order, which is great. And then we have it here. My only thought is as simple as this, Madam Chair. So, the Board of Health issues the tobacco licenses. The Board of Health created a policy that to wit that they that when a tobacco license is someone, a bodega or a business closes down and the license is not transferred, that the license per this policy no longer exists. And so if Holyoke had 80 of them and I have a business and I'm not selling my business, I'm just going out of business and I'm not transferring my license, Holyoke, we once had 80 licenses, now we have 79. And it just goes from there, down and down and down. And there's probably a reason for that, which is public health. And I think that there'll be something to be said for that, but at the same time, there's something to be said for following state law, and there's something to be said for economic development. And it's a simple fact that tobacco is a legal product. It's also an economic reality, Madam Chair, that businesses that have these products and sell these products are able to generate more business and ancillary business and keep themselves afloat. And I think most of us can probably agree that having more businesses in the city of Holyoke is probably a good thing, especially if they're in neighborhoods that need that need grocery stores, that need bodegas, that need that need convenience stores. So when I looked at the, we last discussed this, and I have my notes, which I admit are poor, but we did discuss this September 10th, 2024. We had Mr. Rivers here. We had Dr. Osborne here. They're whatever they said is on tape, so I don't need to. I'm not going to repeat my notes, but I thought it was a fair discussion, and I think what I wanted to hear from that is what was the basis in law, because there's no basis in ordinance, but what was the basis in state law? And the best I could come up with is, and again, I'll happily stand corrected. I mean, I just do what I do. I'm not the greatest at this stuff, but Chapter 111, Section City 1, Boards of Health may make reasonable health regulations. And then there's a series of things that they have to do before they issue the regulation. I don't know if the Board of Health did that. I'm not, at this point, not really interested in whether they followed those steps. But what I am interested in is whether the Board of Health is it certainly currently set up, is interested in possibly revisiting that regulation that now shrinks down licenses, and if they want to go ahead and go back to regular order and have a cap on licenses in the city, and that they can sell them and regulate business. I guess that's really the point of this order, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Nurse Arnold has her hand up, so you have the floor.
Hi, thank you guys for having us. So yes, my name is Nicole. I am one of the Board of Health Commissioners. I was at that last meeting as well, and I thank you guys for having us back. There's a few things that I just wanted to touch on that Councilor Bartley had mentioned. So neighborhoods that need economic growth, right? All of us on the board are from Holyoke. We want Holyoke to do great. We want the economics to thrive. That's why we've stayed here. I grew up here and live here still. But I also am the Board of Health and not the Economics Department, and public health and the health safety of our community is at utmost importance for us. We had 27 violations since the beginning of the year. So when we talk about reasonable, quote unquote, reasonable recommendations, I'm not really sure that we can have a conversation about helping businesses sell more tobacco when our businesses currently, over 57 licenses, are bringing us 27 violations of selling to minors in the neighborhoods that you speak of. Of those 57 tobacco licenses, give or take a few numbers, I think it's a little bit higher, 70% of those are placed in areas that meet environmental justice criteria. That's a tool that identifies and analyzes disproportionately burdened environmental hazards lacking resources in communities of color and low-income populations. So I really appreciate bringing up the common sense laws and helping our economy and keeping public health as a focus. So that's where we are at this point with, I would love, economics to thrive, but I don't think putting our already disproportionately burdened areas and communities at risk in using using economics as the excuse is appropriate coming from the Board of Health. And I hope that makes sense.
Madam Chair?
Thank you. Councilor Bartley?
Yeah,
Lawrence Osborne, I would support Nicole's arguments strongly. I also would say that I'm always willing to look at individual situations. If there was a neighborhood where there was a need for a food store, that would weigh fairly heavily. But in those situations, I also would like to have some support from teachers, a principal of a local junior high school, community leaders, parents. That seems to me would be important to making the case that will help with the safety stuff so we can make the economic work in that area. So.
Councilor Bartley?
Yeah, just Nicole's argument. I guess I could make an argument to say You know, we have stop signs all throughout the city, Madam Chair, and somehow they're run all the time, and people get tickets all the time. What we don't say is that we should remove all the vehicles, all the motor vehicles from the city. I don't think we do that. Now, you can't go ahead and run for cover, put a blanket over your head, as I feel that the Board of Health is doing, saying, well, we're in the Board of Health business. We're not in the economic development business. And because we had 27 violations, my goodness, ipso facto, you can't go ahead and do it. What a world we would live in if we said, you know, for every person that runs a stop sign, we're going to remove that car we're going to remove that car from the road. Or any person that speeds in City of Holyoke, we're going to remove one less car from the road. Of course, that's a ridiculous statement, but it's not any more ridiculous than what I just heard, because we had 27 violations. You know, that's their job. If they want to go ahead and ticket people, great. But people are going to smoke whether they buy tobacco, which is still a legal product. Ask them to refute that. Well, they can't. But people are going to buy their products elsewhere. But they won't do it in Holyoke. They'll go over to Chicopee or East Hampton, wherever else they can do it, because they don't have these caps that just dwindle down. And on top of that, the law says reasonable. Is it reasonable, Madam Chair, that if somebody just goes out of business, that you take away the opportunity for somebody else to sell a legal product? Is that reasonable? I wish somebody would just answer, respond to those. I mean, it's too bad that people violate regulations. But what's your point? I mean, people violate regulations all the time. Is a silly example I just gave. It's intentionally silly. I don't think that that's a fair reason for saying we're gonna just arbitrarily make a decision to eliminate every single license in the city of Holyoke when they know darn well that until tobacco is it's never going to go out of business, but they know darn well people from Holyoke are going to go buy their products elsewhere and come back and smoke all they want. But meanwhile, people that want to do business in this city are going to find it tougher and tougher to stay in business with that kind of attitude. All I'm saying is that put the cap at a number. Put it at 60, put it at 75, but give people a chance to stay in business. And furthermore, a reasonable regulation would be of these violators, are they first-time offenders? Are they repeat offenders? Does the Board of Health have a policy to say, well, look, if you violated this thing up to 3 times in a year, we're going to pull your ticket? Does the Board of Health have a policy like that? It does not. So, I mean, if you want to do something to get to the heart of it, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You go ahead and you try to figure out a game plan which I don't think this is a fair game plan. Now, there's not a whole lot, Madam Chair, that I can do about this. All I can do is raise it, just raise the issue. I'm not in a position to go ahead and change anything else. But my hope was that a reasonable mind would want to look at it. And ultimately, Madam Chair, we're going to say this and comply with it, and we're just going to move it on, because I tried my best. So, and that's really where I'm going to leave it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll have Councilor Devine, and then I have Timothy and Nicole.
Thank you to members of the Board of Health and the Health Department for coming into Zoom today. And I know Timmy, I know Nicole for a long time, and I know how serious they are about this, and they certainly wouldn't look the other way. I write down 27 violations because they were sold to minors. That's where I would have a problem. So maybe you could go through what you do once you find out that somebody's say, sold to minors? Do you go try to educate them? Do you give them pamphlets, whatever? How many chances do they get? I think that's important to let us know about that.
Timothy?
One of the things I wanted to just say about reasonable with the Board of Health regulations is we have 164 other municipalities in the Commonwealth that have some sort of cap. We're kind of in the middle on our strictness. There was a map that I provided that had the number of stars, and we only had 2 where you can go up to 4, and that's different permit caps. To answer Patty's question about the selling to minors, we contract with MHOA. They do our sales to minors. They have a whole protocol by the Department of Public Health that they follow through. They let us know, we do the enforcement on it. When it comes to a violation with a minor, it's an automatic 1-day suspension, automatic $1,000 fine. One of the things we talked about is, and that's state, so there's nothing we can do about that when it comes to that. We do have regulations about suspending tobacco permits. We've suspended, one of them is on a 1-year suspension currently. And we're still getting complaints that they're selling tobacco. In addition to that, yeah, that's what we do with that. I'm just trying to think of anything else. The first time we had a whole educational process with MHOA where they were going out to the tobacco stores and educating everyone. And then when the violations came, that's when they started getting fines, and they have to come to a hearing. The board can only decide on their suspension. They can't decide on the fine. So the time of the suspension, unless it's to a minor, then it's an automatic 1-day suspension at least on the first offense. Yeah, if that answers any of your questions.
Yeah, thank you.
No.
Thank you, Tim. Nicole?
Yeah, just to kind of go off of what Tim said, these are all, the majority of what we base this off of is state regulated guidelines. These are not things that we willy-nilly make up. If I made them up, quite frankly, they'd be a lot stricter than the state guidelines. So we follow what they go along with. And thank you, Councilor Devine, for mentioning, just the strictness of the minor aspect of it. We can't have a great economy if we don't have a healthy community. If we continuously sell to minors and make our children unhealthy in the city, we will not have a great economy. We will continue to let business owners from outside of the city sell to our children, and our children will not be able to make it to be business owners of their own. So that's where my focus is on that aspect of that conversation.
Thank you.
I would say I think the stop sign analogy is somewhat flawed, that I don't think junior high school and high school kids emulate their older brothers and sisters and adults and practice running through stop signs. And the data is overwhelming that kids who start nicotine smoking and use before the age of 12 and do it seriously, that is a gateway to all sorts of other addictions and crime and a destroyed life. And on the other hand, I'd be happy to look at some data that showed that X number of increased retail establishments would bring in this amount of extra revenue for the city, and that they could be located in places where there weren't other ones, and where there's some community support, where teachers, parents, or community people say, yes, we'd like one, half mile from this school or whatever. I don't see any of that evidence.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilor Bartley?
Yeah, I mean, of course, my analogy is intentionally silly, Doctor. But you didn't refute it. Basically, what Nicole said is, we've got 27 violations, and okay. So because of that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue with this arbitrary reduction in the cap. I could turn around your argument, Doctor, and I could say, okay, well, prove to me that by reducing all the licenses in Holyoke, you're reducing smoking in Holyoke. Show me the data that you did that. you know what? You don't have the data. Just like I don't have the data, doctor, that you're looking for. Because, that's tough to exist. But, going around to as many businesses that I do, and I ask you to do the same. Going to any of the bodegas in the flats or in South Holyoke or around Elmwood, and you ask those vendors what would happen if all your cigarette sales went to zero. You had no license. Go ask. Take anyone you want at random. I don't even care which one you pick. Take any business that's a small businessman. Say, dear small businessman, my good friend Abe up on South Street, or my good friend over on High Street. Take away all your tobacco licenses. How would your business thrive? Pick anyone you want, Doc. I'm going to suggest you're going to find all the data you need right there. They're going to say we would be destroyed. But do what you do. Thank you.
Nicole?
Just to clarify, we're not taking anyone's tobacco licenses, nor did we ever say that unless they are in violation. And you have to be in gross violation multiple times over a 36-month period of time to have it taken. So that's not happening from us unless the person does that to themselves. And we're more than welcome to have a conversation about a number, a cap of a number. Absolutely. Please come to one of our meetings. We would love to have many of you counselors come to the meetings because a lot of the violations are happening in your ward. So we welcome you with open arms to see what we do because the goal is not to hurt businesses at all. So yeah, we are not taking, so that I want to clarify that no one's taking licenses here. More than happy to have a conversation about capping it, but right now, I think our focus is to stop the gross violations that are happening at a number of, Tim, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last I checked, we had anywhere from 55 to 65 licenses, which is quite a large number for the size of our city. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicole.
It was about 57, and most of them are located all in the environmental justice areas. I would say probably like 90% are. And we have violations. I mean, since our last meeting in September, we had, I believe it was 17 just from our last safety meeting where we talked about tobacco. 12 of them were from minors, minor violations, selling to minors. And in most cases, a first offense, the board always gives the lowest penalty on a first offense.
Thank you. And Nicole, thank you very much for your information. Also, can you just announce when are your meetings so that we could have, counselors there and get the information?
Yes, I'm going to give that to Tim because he has the exact dates and I don't want to say the wrong dates. But it's usually the third Wednesday of every month, but he can tell you the exact.
Yeah, it was the third Wednesday of every month. We were waiting to schedule it until we saw if the governor signed for if we were doing remote meetings or not. But in most cases, unless something comes up for a holiday, it's the third Wednesday of the month.
And what time, Tim?
6.
What time?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Anyone in chambers? Anyone online? I don't see anything. I would like to thank you, Dr. Osborne, Nicole, the Board of Health, for answering the questions and giving the information out. Thank you very much. Do we have another order for them?
Yeah, well, for this one, I'd make a motion that this order's been complied with. That's
Second?
number 6.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then are we on item 7?
Well, you got number 5 too. Did you
5.
comply with both?
Okay.
You need to take a vote on 5 as well.
Okay, yep, 5.
Yeah, that's been complied with.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty. Do we have more orders for the Board of Health?
I don't see any. Let me see.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can I make that point of order that we were talking about before the meeting?
Okay, to take up all your orders?
Well, I haven't seen anything. I think all of mine, I think I just like to lay them on the table until Mr. Sokop has a chance to review all of them, and they're quite numerous. So may I just go through them with you now, just say, I just want the committee to table them now, and then I'll speak with Mr. Sokop offline, and I'll just get his take on each of these orders, if that's okay with you.
Sure, but before we do that, I just want to make sure we're all set with the Board of Health.
I don't see any more.
I think we're good. Thank you, Dr. Osborne. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Tim? And let's recognize, I would also like to recognize Counselor Meg McGrath Smith. So Bartley, Counselor Bartley.
Yeah, you can call me Bartley, it's all good.
I know, I was like Bartley.
It's all good. So, Madam Chair,
Yes.
if you can make a motion that, to table, package table 10, 13, 14, 16, 17,
Got a question.
18, 23, 24, 29, 30, 31, 37, 38, and 40. And if you could lay those on the table, take them together, lay them on the table, and we'll...
Madam Chair, I do have a question on one of them.
Okay, the last one was 40, Counselor
Yes,
Bartley?
yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I might have a couple questions. This is the one, let's see, item number, let's see, where is it? One about Hoyle Country Club.
Oh, just tell me the number, Counselor.
What's the number? I'm trying to find it.
Is it 16?
Let's see.
Yes.
Okay, 16. The question I have is that, who are you asking to, if we could take it up, to fix the damaged Hoyle Country Club sign? Because that should be, I would assume, the owner of Hoyle Country Club should be fixing that sign, certainly not the city.
That's, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, that's incorrect. So those are...
Did you say incorrect?
Yeah, those, respectfully, those, Madam, they're both Madam Chairs here, it's exciting, I've got a lot of power here. They are wayfinder signs, and those are manufactured right in-house by the city of Holyoke. And one is damaged, and the other one is gone. So the one on the southbound side of Route 5 is damaged. The one on the northbound side is gone missing for years. And so the point of this order is to go ahead and get the DPW to put new signs up, because the DPW does that all the time. Those are the kind of the blue and white ones, they're wayfinders. That's what they call them, wayfinder signs. So hopefully that helps.
And this was a copy, it says copy.
Well,
Was it taken up before?
no, the reason it says copy is that I is receive and adopt and refer to Public Works, but then what I always do is send it to a committee, so that when Public Works fails to do it, which happens, we don't lose sight of it. And so that we can take it up in committee, which we're doing now.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
What's the other question you had?
That was the one I had, and
Okay.
especially about the copy.
Oh, okay, so, yeah.
What you're gonna, I think what you're asking is that item 17, along with others, you want tabled for another meeting. My preference would be to send this to the DPW, to have them do it, because it's getting to be golf season, and certainly that's when it should be up, not when the next time we might have a public safety meeting.
Well, Madam Chair, may I?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just if I could make myself, I'm not making myself clear, that's on me. These were all received, referred, and adopt to send to DPW. But the issue is DPW has done nothing about them. And there's about a good baker's dozen of these that the DPW has done nothing about them. So I don't want to just send it down to DPW, go into a black hole, and then we just forget about it. So if they come back and say that they're done with, great. It'll be a 1-second discussion, and I'll hear that from Mr. Sokop when we speak offline as to where we are. But that's it for that. Does that make sense?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So if you could just table all those, that'd be awesome.
Okay, motion, do I need to read all of them, or just the item number? Okay,
Well,
okay. So motion to table
Madam Chair?
item.
I see Matt Sokop online.
Oh, sorry. Matt?
He's got
Yeah,
his
just
hand
a note on that. Route 5 between Mount Tom Access Road and the East Hampton Town Line is under Mass DOT jurisdiction. So if those signs were within that section of the roadway, I think it might need to go to Mass DOT
Okay.
Okay.
for installation.
I'll make a motion that we send that order to Mass Department of Transportation.
Well,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Councilor Bartley?
Yeah, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to avoid going to these one by one. If I could, just through the chair to Matt, I'll track it down offline, and then we could just go through these in an orderly fashion, and then maybe we could just come up with a little summation and get a little summary report to committee, and that way we don't have to go through these piecemeal. Does that sound fair, sir?
Sounds fine.
All right, thank you. You're the best. Thank you. If we could just keep them on table, I appreciate it.
Okay.
I don't know which, you got the numbers.
All right. So, motion to table item 10, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 21, 23.
No, that's 21.
Not 21? Okay. Okay. 24, 29, 30, 31, 37, 38, and 40. We're gonna table. Motion to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
I was gonna put them on the desk anyways. I'll give them to Jeff, so you can leave them there.
Okay.
So, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're on 15, maybe?
We're on 15.
Would it be possible to read that one more time? The numbers?
The numbers? Sure. Item 10, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 23, 24, 29, 30, 31, 37, 38, and 40.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so, no, I think we're still,
Are we on
we went all over the place, so.
15 or?
I think we're on, we
I
didn't
hate
discuss
these
7.
double-sided things.
We didn't discuss 7. 7 is,
Okay, 7A, okay.
you want a motion to take?
Motion to take up item number 7.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. We've got a big committee here.
I know. Item 7 filed by Councilor Givner. Order per constituent's request. Please conduct a traffic study on Hamden to help mitigate use as a truck route and to address heavy traffic volume on Hamden Street. Constituents have difficulty entering and exiting driveway. Also, houses shake when trucks pass. Constituents are concerned that they may be infrastructure-related safety issues. This was tabled in December of 2024, and this was filed by Councilor Givner, so I will give you the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Residents along that route there have complained that their houses shake when cars go by, and they have a hard time getting in and out of their driveways. I have noticed that since I originally filed this order, that the light, there's a no turn on red at the light coming from the bridge to South Hadley there. So I can imagine that helps change the traffic pattern for the houses along that section there, so that it's probably easier for them to get out of their driveways now. But yeah, this order is just requesting a study to make sure that the road's also safe, just because of those concerns by the residents that their houses are shaking and they don't understand why. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Matt, I see you have your hand up.
Oh, that's just left over from before, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure who conducts traffic studies in that area. Would that be the DPW?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes? Counselor Givner?
Sorry for the barking. Stop it, guys. So this would definitely go through the city engineer. Obviously, we have sort of from everything from Mr. Sokop. So I think any input from him would be greatly appreciated. I'm not sure if this is something that can be handled at this time. In most cases, when we request a traffic study, we're reminded that the funding is not available for it. That doesn't make the problem go away, so I don't really know how to address these constituent complaints other than tabling them until there's funding available. But I would be interested in Mr. Sokop's input on this.
Okay.
So I think that section is also known as Route 202, State Highway. So as far as truck mitigation, my understanding is that you wouldn't be able to prohibit trucks from using that route. So I'm trying to see what the end solution might be with regards to the truck mitigation. If we couldn't preclude trucks from using that route.
Right.
So Matt, would this also fall under Mass DOT?
Well, in order to get a truck exclusion, you need to follow Mass DOT requirements with an application and a study and a request for alternative routes. My understanding is that they don't prohibit trucks from state highways, state numbered routes. So I think it would be unlikely that they would approve a truck exclusion on that particular road.
Okay. And
I guess maybe there's some other issues that we could look at to try to mitigate the shaking, looking at what's causing the shaking. Maybe there's defects in the road that need to be addressed to try to make it less noisy when they get through there. But prohibiting trucks from actually using a state highway, I think would most likely be denied by Mass DOT.
Okay, we are having Mass DOT come in April. So maybe, Counselor Givner, maybe this is something we could table until our meeting in April? And have
I'm fine
them
with that.
answer? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I make a motion that we table that order until April.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We're on 8.
Make a motion to take up item number 8.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 8, also filed by Counselor Givner and former Counselor Tallman. Order per constituent's request. Please address safety concerns of motorists traveling on Locust Street between Hampshire Street and Cabot Street to the corner of Cabot Street. Parking to corner on Cabot in front of Health Center obstructs the view of vehicles crossing or turning on Cabot Street. This was filed back in 2023 and then tabled in 2024. So Counselor Givner, I give you the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This has been an ongoing problem at that corner when you're coming up, approaching Cabot Street on the health center side. You can't see to the right to come across Cabot or turn on to Cabot. So there is a no parking sign. It's been mostly ignored. So I feel like that's definitely a HPD complaint required. But even when cars park in front of the no parking sign, the no parking sign goes up pretty close to the corner. So it still doesn't allow for you to see around that corner. And I drive a really high vehicle and I can't see around that corner and I can't see over vehicles. So it's a dangerous corner and it's an ongoing problem. So I'm wondering if there can't be a sign placed farther from the corner and also have line painting that signifies that there's no parking in that area. Because the visual with the sign, I think, is more effective in general, but it's definitely a problem, and I get a lot of complaints about that corner.
I'd make a motion that we put a new sign up that says no parking here to corner, and also paint the lines that Counselor Givner's talking about so that they can't park. Most people would know not to park in that painted area.
Motion?
That was my motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Counselor Givner?
Yeah, I think that would be great. I guess, would this be sent to DPW for installation?
Matt?
I didn't hear her question.
If it was, this would be sent to DPW.
DPW, yeah. That would be sent to the DPW for the sign and the painting of the road.
Okay, I think that would be great.
Okay. I would also like to recognize Counselor Israel Rivera has joined us on Zoom. 9.
Item number 9, motion to take up item number 9.
Second?
Oh, second.
Well, I thought Izzy was gonna second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 9, filed by Counselor Anderson Burgos. Order that the city engineer investigate the installation of pedestrian safety measures at the crosswalk located on Northampton Street at Winthrop Street. This may include installations of curb extensions, AKA bump outs, and rectangular rapid flashing beacon. This was filed back in 2023 and tabled on 2024. Let me see, what did we have on this? We were supposed to speak to,
Yeah, I don't see Counselor Anderson Burgos on Zoom. I did go up there to see what the problem may have been, and there's a huge crosswalk that crosses over Northampton Street, much larger than most that I've seen. So I'm not sure if that's good enough to be that a safety measure or not. I suppose we could table it to find out, or if we want to do that it was complied with, and then tomorrow Counselor Anderson Burgos can always answer any questions, and we can always send it back to committee if need be.
Motion to table.
Okay, second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay. Take up item number 11.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Counselor?
real quick, I'm sorry, I have another meeting going on at the same time. That's why I'm late for my job, my real job. I mean, my full-time job. Real quick, can you read into the minutes, that, rule, because I'm online, and you have to do roll call votes because I'm not.
Oh, the roll
so it's
call.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Jeff, do we have the roll
right.
call?
There should be a sheet,
I have it in my
there should be a sheet
desk.
behind you, or maybe, yeah. I'm sorry that I have to do that, but I just want to make sure because I'm online and I want to remind you.
Okay. Motion to take the roll call vote?
Got it?
Okay. Okay, I'll be reading into the record, motion to take a roll call vote that for the purposes of this meeting would be applicable to all motions to remove an item from the table, place items on the table, package items, open or close a public hearing, or suspend the rules unless there is an objection.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. Item 11, are we on?
Yes. So we're table.
Motion to take up item number 11.
Second? All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Item 11, filed by Councilor Israel Rivera, order that representatives of the Holyoke Mall come into public safety and talk about what they are doing to address safety concerns of residents regarding the back upper parking deck. Residents have been complaining of feeling the deck shake and as of the recent noticing of a gap between cement panels that seem to be growing. This was filed by the councilor in 2023 and tabled in 2024. This is filed by Councilor Rivera. Councilor Rivera, you have the floor.
Yes, I filed this order a while ago, and is there anyone here as to represent the mall? I don't think so, right?
No.
But the engineer's here.
Oh, the city engineer's here.
Yeah.
No. He's fairly new, but Mr. Sokop, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please correct me. Do you have any insight on any of that stuff with regards to the garage where people park? You can see through it. This was a while back. Since then, I've seen some repairs at the mall, so I was gonna have it be complied with. But if there was someone present or someone that could speak to it, it would be good just for the public to hear it too as well.
I don't have anything on the wall, sorry.
What was that?
I don't have any information on the parking
Okay,
garage.
no, so that's fine. That's cool. That's totally cool. I want to say that I've seen some repairs happening myself, and I've heard through the grapevine that some of the stuff were happening. So for me, unless someone was in so they could explain and elaborate, I'd say that his order is either leave to withdraw or comply with. I believe to withdraw is fine.
Need to withdraw.
Motion to for the item to be leave to withdraw.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion to take up item 12.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Item 12, filed by former Councilor Peruello and Councilor Carmen Ocasio, ordered that the city engineer draft the cost and feasibility of installing 2 raised crosswalks on Main Street adjacent to Springdale Park. This was filed back in 2022 and tabled in 2024. And since Carmen Ocasio is in chambers, I will give her the floor.
Hi, thank you, Chairman. This been going on for a while already. Due to that traffic light, they got taken down because somebody just decided to just speed through there and crash into it. And now the residents in that area is running a lot of danger because they cannot cross safely, or even the students going to a school also cannot cross safely. This summer's coming, and there's going to be a lot of activities, a lot of people. There's going to be games, picnics, etc. So there's going to be a lot of people using Springdale Park.
Doesn't say.
And it's a safety hazard. I would like to see at least 2 raised crosswalk because the residents in that area cannot even, on the side streets, cannot even come out safely either. Not too long ago, myself and Councilor at Large, Jordan, was standing at the corner, and one car came speeding down Main Street and took a sharp turn where the light was at before and almost hit me and the councilor. So we witnessed that. And if we was running danger, everybody else in that area is running danger. They've been complaining like since 2022, and we in 2025. So just wondering what the city's gonna do, DPW, the city engineer, whoever is in charge of this matter, to get it resolved as soon as possible, because we've been waiting, for almost 3 years now.
Thank
Don't
you,
wait until
Councilor.
life is taken and then replace it.
Thank you, Counselor. And Matt, I know you're new to this position. I won't say you're new to the job, you're new to this position. And my question, and I'll echo Carmen Ocasio, because there is like a lot of soccer games happen. Well, baseball season will start in under a month. Softball season, you got kickball happening down there. You're gonna have soccer, so it's parents do park across the street and try to walk over with their kids. And what I was just curious if you could look into that, if this was a car accident that took the light down. I worked in personal injury for like 25 years, and I would think personal injury insurance would have covered the light being taken down. That's one of the things they should have covered. So I'm not sure if you could look into that, or if you were able to look at the agenda and would be able to answer any of the questions and concerns that Councilor Ocasio had.
If I might, Madam Chairman, the specific location, so he'll know, that's the Vernon Street
Is that Vernon?
location?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, because it's not on there, so I want to make sure.
Matt, do you have?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with what happened there or why the lights are missing, so I need to look into it.
Okay.
I could
So-
see if there's anything in an accident report that might point to, someone that might be able to cover the cost of an installation, but it, it gets into how long ago did it happen? Is it still, something that we can look to? And, as far as the order goes, I guess we'd have to look into that to see if those were appropriate at the location there, and then an engineering analysis determine what the impact of installing one of those would be, or those two at that location. I'm assuming it's at the existing crosswalks. Is that the location that's being requested?
Where the light was at before.
Yeah, I think they have
It's in
Vernon Street?
Yeah, it's on
Vernon
Street.
and Main.
Vernon and Main.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe what they have right now is like a huge stop sign, right?
And
Unless they took that down.
Horse too.
They have right now facing, on Main Street where the light used to be at, facing up Vernon Street, two small stop signs that only Vernon Street can see. Main Street, drivers cannot see it. It's just facing, in other words, it's like, it's a shame to even have that there.
Okay, thank you. So should we?
I'll make a motion that we table this to have the city engineer take a look at it and get back to Councilor Ocasio and with a copy to the Public Safety Committee.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 15, motion to take up item 15.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 15 filed in 2022 by Councilor Givner, order that the HPD create a publicly visible calendar of speed trailers so that communities know when they can expect to see requested actions in their neighborhoods. And this was tabled back in December of 2024. Councilor Givner, I give you the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So there are speed trailers in the city, and at one point it seemed like there was a list. The previous Chief Pratt had a list of locations where they were moving them to, but it wasn't clear, where neighborhoods fall on that list. So I was just hoping that there's some way to communicate a list so that neighborhoods who are asking for it can see where they fall. Because I'm not familiar with, how long a speed trailer stays in what area, I'm sure there's a needed amount of time for it to sit in one space to gather information, but I'm not sure what. So this is just enough to help the community see that things are happening, and the reason they don't see it in their neighborhood is just because it hasn't made it yet.
Okay. Thank you.
If I might. If I might, one thing that we were going to do, there were several items that the police chief needed to come into public safety for, and perhaps we could add this one to, because there's a list of items 25, 32, 34, 38, 31 combined, 39, 54, 56, 58, 59, and 60, and perhaps the police chief could come in just for police chief business on a particular night, and maybe we could add that one, item 15, to that, all of those, so he knows about that as well, if that works.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay, make a motion to add item 15 to the items that we'll be bringing in at some point with the chief.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 19.
What are we on?
On 19.
I couldn't hear you.
19.
19? I thought that, is that Bartley?
Yeah, he said lead to it.
Oh, he wants that one. Okay, make a motion to take item number 19.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. This was the one that was complied with, I believe.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
said
motion
leave to
that
withdraw.
it's been complied with,
No,
or leave to withdraw.
So item 19, filed by Councilor Bartley back in May of 2024. DPW installed temporary no parking signs on south side of the South Street X walk from Elwyn Towers. Please do so immediately so that the seniors have a clearer pathway to see vehicles prior to crossing. Leave them installed until the pedestrian traffic light is repaired. Received, adopt, and refer to DPW. So I believe this was all taken care of after the tragic accident that happened in front of Elmwood Towers.
Yep.
So per Councilor Bartley, his order, he also said leave to withdraw as this was taken care of.
Make a motion that that be given leave to withdraw.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 20.
20. Mhm.
Motion to take up item 20.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 20, filed by Councilor Ocasio back in December of 2024, order that the city install a few signs, no trucks, slow down, children, and no parking anytime on the block across from 320 Elm Street. I will give the floor to Councilor Ocasio.
I have got an email from Juan Velasquez he resigns at 320 Elm Street. He owns a home there. He brought it to my attention that Elm Street between Sergeant and Jackson is becoming very congested and very dangerous because it's a small street. It's very narrow, and what individuals are doing is cutting through there to get to the highway quicker, to 391. So they're using that street to cut over faster instead of just going down. On one side of that street, there's signs up, there's resident parking on the left side. On the right side, that's where the traffic floats through. So some of the residents or who come to visit the residents park on the right side also. Now there's no way a car can go by or a school bus or anything can go by through there because that's how small the street is, so narrowed. So maybe if DPW, Matt can take a day and meet me at that corner, and I can explain better because it's a lot of details there that it's hard to explain. You have to like literally see it, so like that you can understand what I saw. So can we table it for another day?
Sure, thank you. Motion.
Make a motion to table it till the engineer and city councilor Ocasio are able to get together and look at that area and then report back to public safety.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion to take up item 21.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 22, filed by Counselor
21.
Bacon. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's 22.
How come I got 21? Lou Smith.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had
Okay.
crossed it out.
Okay.
I forgot. I'm sorry, Meg. Counselor 21, item 21, filed by Counselor Meg McGrath Smith, order that the mayor, city engineer, DPW director update the council on the status of completing Northampton Street between Lincoln Street and the Mount Tom access road, including fully paving the road to include a bike lane and replacing sidewalks in many places. The sidewalks are deteriorated or blocked by utility poles. And we did have Counselor Meg McGrath Smith online. I don't see her. Is she on?
She was there.
She was online.
Yeah. See, it says Counselor Meg.
Oh, she is. So, Counselor McGrath Smith, I will give you the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just filed this because I had heard from a number of constituents asking for when the road would be completed. There was a coat of the middle of the road that was done, I think 2 years ago at this point. But it was never done, from, curb to curb. And there were also questions around if this would be an area that could be a good match for a complete streets grant. This was originally a 4-lane highway effectively, and now is a 2-lane road. It's very wide, except that the sidewalks are, sort of standard sidewalks, but with telephone poles that are often in the middle of them. And that means that they can be really difficult for folks to get down with strollers, or, kids with bikes, that sort of thing, especially because people have stone walls often on the other side. So there's often not a whole lot of room in between a telephone pole and the walls along that section of the road. So it was a question of what that might look like moving forward, if there were plans to fix the road. I know there's combined sewer work that's being done, where they sort of knew maybe it didn't make sense to do a full, a redo of that section of the road because of that coming up. So I'm just wondering what the long-term plans are for it.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
I just, quickly, I went through some of these orders that we have, and there was a lot. And what I did was I put some in no particular order of items that need to be paved and send those to the DPW. It was like item 63, 64, and perhaps we can add your item 21 to that and have them take a look at that and get back to you as well as public safety, if that works. Does that work? Maybe she can't hear me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were speaking to Councilor Rivera. I didn't want to speak out of turn. Yes, that would absolutely work for me. Sorry.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we add that to the paving list, item number 21.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 22, motion to take up 22.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Counselor Bacon. We're on the right one now. Item 22, filed by Counselor Bacon back in January 2025. Request to prioritize Homestead Ave from Westfield Road to Lower Westfield Road to be repaved due to high traffic volume and many rough repairs on the roadway. So this was filed by Counselor Bacon, and we'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I put this on in January and I'm happy it's coming up now, because since then, there's been even more rough patches with the removal of the raised crosswalks that became problematic over there. And so, Matt Sokop being new, I did reach out to you, Matt, and I know you have it on your radar to take a look at, but the situation that was bad in January is even worse now. And so I'm really hopeful that it will get high enough on the scale to get on the list for this year. But if you have a whole separate list running for committee that will be addressed in this regard, maybe you want to put this one on it too?
I was gonna
don't
make
know.
that motion, that item 22 also be added to the paving list and sent to the DPW.
Okay, that would be
and
great,
engineer.
and I've put a request over to Matt at DPW as well, but that would be great, thank you.
So that's my motion, to put item 22 on the paving list for the DPW and city engineer.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 25, maybe? Is that
Yes,
next?
we're on 25.
Okay. Make a motion, take up item number 25, and I can speak on that?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, go ahead if you want to read it, and then.
Item 25, filed by Councilor Devine, August of 2024, order that the mayor, in conjunction with the HPD and Disabilities Commission, give an update on making HPD building handicap accessible.
Yeah, I filed this after speaking with the handicap advisory people, as well as the police department, and Matt Peterson came into finance a couple weeks ago. He is the one that is taking care of this, and it should be a matter of time before, if anybody knows the police department, those doors are huge and heavy, but he is getting that taken care of, so we're hoping that in the near future, a handicapped person will be able to push a button and have those doors, the outside and the indoor doors, open for them. So I would say that this has been complied with, and if for some reason it doesn't happen, but I believe it will, then we can always bring it up again. So that would be my motion, that it was being complied with.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
26.
26 looks like it might be the same as the Vernon Street one, perhaps. Make a motion, take up item 26.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 26, filed by former Councilor Puello and Councilor Carmen Ocasio, order that a flashing beacon signal be installed by the fire department at Springdale in Maine for pedestrians crossing into the park. This will provide a fix as we await the results of a traffic study to address the traffic light. Fire already had them available, and this would have zero cost on the city as the fire install themselves. Fire has been excellent in dealing with this issue, and this was tabled back in 2024. We did have Councilor Ocasio, she's gone.
But I think this is also related to the Vernon Street area that she was talking about with the traffic light. So my motion would be that we send the order to the fire department to have them hopefully put in what's needed at that area. And I do believe it's Vernon Street and Main Street.
Main Street. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion, take up item 27.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 27, filed back in 2022 by Councilor Jordan, order that the DPW please provide the City Council a copy of our current agreement for the receipt of our recycling materials with the Materials Recycling Facility, MRF. Please also provide the City Council with the statistic data on our recycling program. How much recycling plastic, glass, metal versus paper in CY 2018, CY 2019, 2020, and 2021. Has the city received and recycled with the MRF during these time periods? Please also provide these statistics for any of our recycling that has been brought to places other than the MRF, such as another vendor, straight into the landfill as trash, or other possibilities, if any. Please provide us with the statistic of regular trash we have collected during these time periods by the way of comparison to see what percentage recycle is versus the total volume of collections. Please provide these reports the city council and come into the city council and discuss the current state of the city's recycling program. And this order was tabled on December of 2024.
Madam Chairman, if I could, this was, the first order was over 2 years ago, and then it was tabled in December of 2024. I believe we could do a couple of things. We could table it again since Councilor Jordan was unable to be here, and or send it to the DPW for that information. And since it's 2 years old, that would be at their leisure to give Councilor Jordan that information as well as the city council. So that would be my motion, that we send it to the DPW and they report back to Councilor Jordan, who filed the order in 2022.
Okay, Councilor Rivera?
I would support that order. I just have a question. I think, is the city engineer still here? Does he have information on that now, just in case? If he has information now on that, then and he can speak to it now, then we could just dead it. Or, you know what I mean? At least report it out and then give that to Kevin then and say at the full council, you know what I mean? Allow him to do that. Because if not, then we can do what you said too as well. I have no issue.
Sounds good.
So, Mr. Sock up, I hope. Soak up, all right, perfect, thank you, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I don't have any information on this, sorry.
Okay.
So then I second Patty's motion.
Okay.
Hold on.
Motion to send it to DPW.
Meg has her.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. Councilor Meg McGrath Smith?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just wanted to name that the Recycling Committee, which was recently formed last year or 2 years ago, and I sat on before I became a city councilor and was no longer able to sit on it, has been, looking for more consistent data. And I think that the data from this could be helpful for the Recycling Committee to know. So if it's possible for there to be clear tracking, sort of sharing historical data, and then also some sort of, whether it's quarterly reporting or annual reporting, I think could be really helpful to go not only to council, but also specifically to the Recycling Committee, who I know is looking for this type of data and the information that they're kind of swimming in. And I want to name that, that may be a different order, because this, I think, very much is swimming in what was happening at the time was that folks were sort of starting to understand that, especially during COVID, that we were not doing dual stream recycling in the way that we were intended to do it for a variety of reasons. And so we did a reboot of dual stream when we did the trash cart or trash tote rollout, which has been really successful and has been able to save us money since then. And I think even that would be helpful to keep tracking. I know that we heard data back over the first 3 months, but then haven't heard data since then. So I'm a big fan of data, would love to see more data, but I don't know if this particular order gets to that. And I think that it sort of is speaking to a moment that we've gotten beyond.
Thank you. Councilor Bacon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I cannot quote Councilor Jordan exactly because I don't remember the specifics, but my general recollection is that he realized what he was looking for was very dated, and that now we're in a completely different place from then. And I'm not sure it would be fair to Matt Sokop to have him try to go back and dig into all this, because the dual stream recycling wasn't even happening for 2 or 3 years. So the statistics aren't going to be very good in that regard. And I believe my recollection is, and you can blame me if I'm wrong, that Councilor Jordan was willing to let this go in one way or another.
Okay. Make a motion to give it leave to withdraw. And perhaps if Councilor McGrath Smith, I'm happy to file an order with you to have the Recycling Committee come in when you think it's a good idea to do that.
Yes, and I think it would just be great to, you and I can talk about an order that goes in around just what the data is that we would hope would be shared with the recycling committee and the Board of Public Works.
Okay. So that's my motion, to give it leave to withdraw.
I second that motion and also put me on that order too.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion to take up item 28.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 28, filed by Councilor Givner, with community support, order that the initiatives to be discussed and created to encourage convenience store and fast food store owners to install trash receptacles and sponsored trash collection throughout the city of Holyoke. It is clear that much of our city's trash is from fast food restaurants and corner stores. These entities must be invited to be a part of the community they profit from by supporting quality of life initiatives that increase business support. And this was tabled back in 2024 and filed in 2023. Councilor Givner, I give you the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, so this was filed in an effort to sort of create some accountability and some shared ownership in the community. These are businesses that, you know, they do business in Holyoke and they make a living doing business in Holyoke. I noticed recently at some of the stores, they don't even have their own outside trash bins. So I was wondering if it could be like a, you know, it's hard to work backwards and we can only hope for the best efforts of current business owners. But I'm wondering if we can't incorporate into our ordinances that if a business opens and they create takeout trash, that they also, you know, take some sort of responsibility for the branded trash that's found throughout the city. So I'm not sure how to address this, but I thought it was worth a discussion and any ideas are welcome.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
I have a possibility of a idea. And the Board of Health is no longer on the Zoom, so it's not going to be their fault. But I'm wondering if the Board of Health has brochures, things, you know, like don't litter, that type of thing, that they could pass out to these convenience stores as a public service information. They may have posters, they may have things like that. So that would be my recommendation, to see if they have those types of things and to pass them out to the convenience stores and things like that.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, that's a motion.
I guess I wonder, you know, how we can make it a requirement by business owners, or if we can even make it a requirement by business owners that they're responsible for their branded trash cleanup. I mean, it's an ongoing problem. And, you know, we don't know who all the trash comes from, obviously, but, you know, I hate to point the finger at Dunkin' Donuts, but there's Dunkin' Donuts trash all over the city, everywhere you go. And there's also like a Dunkin' Donuts on every other corner. So, you know, how do we hold an entity like that accountable, you know, not for all the trash, but just to help keep the city clean, since they're part of the reason there's so much trash littered throughout the city.
Okay, so this be referred to the Board of Health?
Yeah, I would say refer to the Board of Health, and perhaps they can, because I'm sure they have a list of all the convenience stores, because most of them sell cigarettes and things like that, so they would have a list, and perhaps they could go, again, if they have the posters. Going way back when I was a kid, we had Don't Litter, and, you know, Smokey Bear, Don't Start Forest Fires. So maybe there's something out there that can get the people to put up in their stores and stop the litter.
Okay. Councilor Bacon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would also suggest that we take a look at our ordinances, because I believe we have an ordinance about littering. And part of this, again, is enforcement and holding the people that are throwing it onto the street, out of their cars often, et cetera, accountable for what they're doing. And so you know, we keep going in circles on enforcement relative to traffic speeding and compliance and things like that. But I think we already do have an ordinance relative to littering as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would Mike this in it?
I don't see him.
He's on.
Oh, he is?
Mm-hmm. Councilor Rivera?
Yeah, real quick, this is about the orders that I filed that where I heard were complied with. In the future, can they reach out to me and let me know that this is happening? Because I would have loved to have been there, and unfortunately, I couldn't be there because I had work at the same time. So now the order's complied with, and I never got to kind of like opine or even like ask any questions. So now it's a kind of like an awkward situation if I file the order again. Thank you.
We can go back to it. I'd make a
Yeah,
motion.
but they're
that
not
we-
here anymore. And
Oh, the people.
Yeah, so like it would have made sense to actually be able to ask the questions. So I mean, that's okay. Whatever. We're here now, but like in the future, just because this day I couldn't meet regardless. I had this plan. I had a board meeting with my job, so I couldn't do it regardless. But that's cool. In the future, just wanted to throw it out there and just say that. Thank you, guys.
Because I would make a motion that we put those things back on the table so that the next time we have a public safety meeting, we can have those people come in, if that's something you'd agree to.
I mean, I would agree to that too. I don't want to waste their time either if they already came in and they feel like they already spoke about it, just only coming for me. I'll watch the video and I'll see if anything, I'll reach out to them individually. But like,
Okay.
just had to feel like I had to say something about it. But thank you though. I appreciate the order and all that too. As well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Attorney Bissonnette, would you know anything on the ordinance Councilor Bacon spoke about on the littering?
I don't. Be happy to look into that, though. I would consider comparing it to the bans on plastic bags in some communities. That might be a good analogy. But other communities, when they discuss littering vis-a-vis fast food outlets, Dunkin' Donuts, the problem is, how do you ban napkins, plastic cups from a retailer like that? You really can't, because that's their livelihood. So it's a difficult matchup, and I think Councilor Bacon's right on the money when she talks about enforcement. I think that's the key here. So let me look at how strict we can make that littering law and see if there's any way to make it more applicable to the fast food and other retailers.
Okay, thank you. So what was your motion on that?
The motion was to, which one were we on, number?
28.
28. Sorry.
Madam Chair?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
that's the Board of Health, to see if they had any pamphlets, that type of thing, and to have if the ordinance does talk about litter, then perhaps the Board of Health can also notify them of what the ordinance is for littering.
Councilor Bacon?
Thank you. I found the ordinance. It's section 74-91. Throwing or depositing of litter prohibited. No person shall throw or otherwise deposit litter in or upon any public place or private premises within the city except in proper receptacles. And then there's a couple other sections. One other section. No person shall throw, dump, sweep, push, blow, deposit, or leave litter in any public or private gutter, street, right-of-way, etc. And C, any violation of this section or any part thereof shall be punishable by a fine not to exceed $100. So there you go.
Thank you.
So that motion would be that we notify the Board of Health of this order and that they pass out, whether it's pamphlets, posters, and to notify the establishments of the ordinance 74-91 and others that relate to littering.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
We're on 32.
32? Yeah. Make a motion to take up item number 32.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item 32 filed January 2025 by Councilor Bacon, ordered that at the I-91 dedicated exit lane to the mall, consider the installation of flexible lane delineators to prevent people from illegally crossing the solid line across the bike lane. Councilor Bacon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is a request for our engineer and interim director of Public Works, Matt Sokop, because these delineators I have seen used in a number of other communities and states, and I would be interested to know what he thinks about their use where we're having people create safety hazards where we've got a bike lane established. Cars aren't supposed to cut over the solid line, but they do. And so I would like this to go to him and then be able to come back to see if he thinks this is a useful and helpful tool, or if there's something he thinks would be better. I filed this order based on a constituent request. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion.
The only question I would have, is this a state Department of Transportation situation or a city?
Well, it's down on the street where the lane is going to the mall.
Right.
So I'm not technically positive whether it's considered, I think it's considered a Holyoke Street at that point, but I'm not positive.
I would make a motion that we send this to the city engineer to look into the situation, and if necessary, send it to the Department of Transportation if it's not a city situation, but it's certainly a good idea.
Oh, thank you.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Item 33.
Yes.
I would say we have to motion to table it because we don't know the information, unless you do.
No, I don't think we,
Okay.
I got around speaking to current Councilor Ocasio.
Okay, maybe just read it and then I'll make a motion to table till April.
Okay. Item 33 filed back in December of 2024 by Councilor Ocasio, order that the DPW engineer and HGE come to the city council meeting to explain why there are meters in front of the buildings and homes.
Make a motion that we table that to the April meeting.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're on 34.
Item 34, make a motion, take up item 34.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 34, filed by former Councilor Puello and Councilor Israel Rivera, order that the DPW please draft a plan or update on current actions taken on the Emerald Ash Borer Tree infestation emergency affecting South Holyoke's green ash trees. This was tabled back in December of 2024. Councilor Rivera?
Could you read it again? I'm sorry, my daughter had the headphones out and I didn't get to hear the whole order.
Oh, okay. So this was order filed by you and former Councilor Puello, order that the DPW please draft a plan or update on the current actions taken on Emerald Ash Borer Tree infestation emergency affecting South Holyoke green ash trees. Councilor Rivera? Oh.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes.
My bad. My daughter keeps grabbing the headphones and opening it, so it keeps transferring to the headphones. No, I'm just, what was the order again? I'm sorry. I can't. I got a lot going on. Right?
Oh, it's the actions taken on Emerald Ash Boreal Tree Infestation, the emergency affecting.
Oh yes. Oh, okay. So, that should be complied with then, because they already came in, they presented, and they spoke all about that.
Great.
They cut most of the trees down, and I think there's a plan being put together to plant new trees and all that.
Okay, motion that the order's been complied with?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. 135.
Item number 35, take that off the table.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 35 was filed by Councilor Meg McGrath-Smith and Councilor Israel Rivera. Order that the fire chief communicate a written plan for supporting firefighters to successfully complete their EMT certifications, especially for those who have previously failed to pass the exams required and are approaching the 2-year deadline. Councilor Meg McGrath-Smith? Is she here?
Yes, she's there.
Where? Oh, okay, I see her there. Or Councilor Rivera?
So, is there someone from the fire department here? So I think this was filed a while back, and I think when they presented, this had to do specifically around a couple firefighters where they took a couple attempts to try and pass the test, and they finally ended up passing it anyways. But I think what ended up happening out of that meeting is that we wanted to see if there was more of a support system to ensure that we're not kind of wasting city funds when we're sending people to go take the test and not actually passing, and then they end up not having to be employed, even though we've paid them out and had them work for us for quite some time before that goes through. I don't know if Councilor Meg McGrath-Smith can add more to it, but that's pretty much where the understanding I had when we filed this. If it's up to me, I'm okay with tabling it or asking her to refile it again. But I think the idea was for the chief to come in and kind of explain and elaborate on what the plan would be to put something together to make sure that we have a backup system to make sure that people are supported when they're taking that test.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Meg McGrath?
Thank you. So I second everything that Councilor Rivera just said, and I think the goal at this point is to, if we put it on another agenda, ask the fire chief just to submit it in writing. The first order, he came in and they had a really good productive conversation around the types of things that they could do or were thinking of doing with the two gentlemen. And I think that it's just at this point, if it can be shared in writing. So if it's possible to put it on another agenda and just, communicate out ahead of time to the chief and ask, it doesn't have to be, a highly formalized thing. I don't think it has to be, incredibly detailed, but just some sort of formalized, here's our process now when we take folks in, to make sure that they're ready to take their EMT tests and be able to continue being firefighters for HFD.
So I would make a motion then that we have the chief, and also in conjunction with the fire commissioners, that they write what their plan has been. I think I mentioned in the last meeting we had that when I was a fire commissioner, there was an employee who some people just can't take tests. So they allowed him to take his test in a separate room, obviously with the monitor there, and he passed. So they do come up with things to help these firefighters. But so that's what my motion would be, that the chief and in conjunction with the fire commissioners at a meeting, come up with a written plan to give to Councilors McGrath-Smith and Israel Rivera with copies to the city council.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and item
Aye.
30, okay, item 36. And Izzy, before I forget, I'm gonna put the Holyoke Sun on your desk, because there's a beautiful picture of you and your daughter marching in the parade. Do you hear me?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Okay, item number 6, take that off the table for discussion.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Item 36 is filed back in October of 2024 by Councilor Devine and myself. Order that the mayor issue an executive order temporarily suspending all fines related to Section 110.7, periodic inspection of the Mass State Building Codes for a 6-month period until all records have been completely reviewed by the building and law departments. Further order that all current fees already paid should be rescinded and held in escrow until all records have been reviewed by the building and law departments.
I would make a motion that we send this to the building commissioner for an update on where things are at with the multi-family homes and any fines, things like that.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Bartley, okay.
And that's
39.
on 9. Yep, 39. Item 39, filed by Councilor Meg McGrath Smith back in September of 2024. Order that the DPW Director and Parks and Rec Director come into the council to give a report on addressing the issue of Pulaski Park wall deteriorating, the trees and shrubbery behind the wall not being removed due to issues with Mass DOT and various railroad companies, and what progress is being made in returning Pulaski Park to the View Park it was designed to be. This was tabled back in December of 2024, and Councilor Meg McGrath Smith.
I filed this as a follow-up order through the CPA. We were initially tasked with providing funding for a study that looked at the wall and why it was deteriorating. And what came out of that was then a second part of the study, because we now have a plan for what it would look like to put it out to bid to restore the wall itself, which in sections you can see the rebar through it. It really is deteriorating. But there's also a crack through sections of the sidewalk that goes along the wall that raised other questions around if the wall itself was structurally stable. And so a second part of the study then happened where the goal was for them to be able to do coring and to research whether or not the wall itself was structurally stable and why it might not be. And even in that, we had a really hard time getting a lot of clarity or at least detail from that second part of the study because of difficulties with the company being unable to get permission from Mass DOT to be able to get up where they needed to get to do the coring. We only own, I believe, 6 feet from the wall, so it's actually not a whole lot of land. And then right down the slope, all of that's railroad land. So really, the question becomes, I would love to hear from Matt Sokop around plans to reach out to Mass DOT, because what the study came back saying is effectively the wall is being compromised. Its structural integrity is being compromised from the vegetation that is growing underneath with its root system underneath the wall, underneath the sidewalk. And so what does it look like for us to put pressure on Mass DOT to do that work, to regularly clear cut everything down on that slope? One, so it's a view park like it was intended to be by Frederick Olmsted, but secondly, so that it's then structurally, hopefully stable moving forward and doesn't deteriorate and collapse down the embankment. I think we hopefully can pull Mass DOT in understanding their own value in that, right? They have their own self-interest in wanting to see the railroad land protected by our wall being stable. But also what I've heard every time we've brought this up is that somehow the railroad companies are hard to deal with. And so we just haven't really been able to work with them to get this work done. So I guess my question to to Matt Sokop is what can be done to work with Mass DOT to get them to agree to do this work annually, and for us also on DPW to do our part along our 6 feet of the wall that we control to keep it a view park and also help this wall become stable. Because once we have identified that the wall now is stable and will stay stable, then we can, for example, pursue CPA funding in another round of the applications to restore the wall and really finish the work that has been done on that park, to keep it, to the cool historical character that it has. It's, one of the neatest parks in the city. And I think it's really important that we keep that park historic in the way that it was designed to be by the person who also designed Central Park. I think it's one of the cooler aspects of that park.
Thank you, Counselor. Matt?
Yeah, my understanding is that the railroad came in there the week of the 10th and mowed all that bank down. So I'm not sure if it's on a regular schedule, but they seem to be maintaining it. I could reach out to them to see if they have a routine plan for maintaining it.
That would be great. And also, are we doing our part to do the 6 feet of the wall that we control?
That's Parks, so I'll have to reach out to Parks to see what their plan is for that, but I can do that too as well.
Okay, that would be great.
I'm not sure how far Mass DOT went with the clearing, but when I drove by there, I kind of looked over and it looked like the whole area was cleared up to the wall, but I can double check Parks.
That he can get back.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I certainly have not been down there since the 10th because it's been cold. I haven't got down there. But I will go down there this week and look at it and get a sense of what's been done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Meg, could we make this order be complied with and have Matt get back to you as far as a quarterly report on, like he just said? Or do you want us to table it?
I trust Matt to get back to me. So Matt, if it's possible, just to get a follow-up communication, you could even send it to the city clerk and they could send it as a communication to council, just around what does regular maintenance look like working with Mass DOT, and what is our maintenance schedule from the Parks Department?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we need to make an order complied with.
Okay, so that motion, that order's been complied with, and Matt and Meg will speak about the wall.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
And don't
Have a
forget.
good night.
Okay, good night.
Thank you.